and now we please the pendulum's velocity. Buckle up, we're spacebound. We leap into hyperactivity, the broadcast from the next dimension. Release the tension. It's now or detention. We make our ascension.
Welcome to Better Than Podcast. Welcome back, everyone. My guest today is Khaliq Sim. He is a poet and a writer. You can find him at Khaliq Sim on YouTube. He's got a really beautiful view of art and its purpose in this new world that we're creating. And it was a pleasure to talk to him. I would consider him a good friend now. And I hope that you all check out his YouTube channel, check out his poetry. He's been making the podcast rounds also. I know he's on that one gaming podcast, but I'm not great at remembering names of podcasts, but I hope you guys enjoy this. I wanted to bring you this because I think that this conversation really really illustrates how all of our puzzle pieces are fitting together, and it's a beautiful thing, and it was a wonderful conversation. Please enjoy this. I know that I haven't been as consistent as I would like to be, and I hope that none of you are holding it against me, but I've got some really good things to come, some new additions to the style of the podcast, as well as some updates about the app and all of that stuff. Stuff is moving, you guys. Also, if you would please leave in the comments, let me know any topics that you want me to cover on this podcast. You know, I have a pretty wide range of interests that topics that I would like to talk about. So I'm curious as to what some of you are interested in hearing about. So enjoy, and please welcome my friend Khaliq Sim.
I just want to be able to like congregate with freedom-minded people, and just put out that energy that, you know, this freedom and these things that we hold dear to us are here right now, and we are going to take advantage and take stock of that. And I just want to be a part of that. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no kidding. And I think that, I mean, it feels a little dark to talk about it, but I think that it is really important to like appreciate the time that we have now, even, you know, with things being the way that they could be a lot worse. And so the fact that we can travel and that we can, you know, do these things, it makes sense to just, you know, notice it and appreciate it.
Yeah,
you know,
true.
Be grateful for it. And that's how we bring that abundance in, right? Is being just grateful.
Oh yeah, know? Absolutely. I mean, that's like one of the main one of the main catalysts to why like some of my buddies out here, we're really trying to push this freedom cell situation, because and I have a show that I host once a month, and this month's episode, I should say, is it's a spinoff of Kubrick's movie How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Virus. Right, so that's a spinoff of the of Doctor Strangelove, Kubrick's version, but I changed the title, and I basically said that because I was like, hey guys, like this is and this is kind of my MO and why I wanted to choose that title. But I'm like, we gotta love this. We gotta love what's going on. We gotta appreciate the virus and this pendulum that is shifting the way it is, because this is an opportunity for us to not resist what's going on and just create something different, you know. And that's what I was telling my buddies in the Freedom Cell. I was like, this is a great opportunity, man. Like, we got to love the virus for bringing us back together and helping us remember what is important, community, and these things. So I'm not sure where I was going with that, but love the virus.
How did you wrap your head around loving the virus? In what way? In what way do you love the virus?
I love it in a sense of like, I love the ocean, right? I love the waves. I love um, how nature always has its way, right? Like nature will always bring it back to where it needs to come, like the pendulum, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it may seem somewhat morbid, or maybe the lack. That's not the exact word I'm looking for, but you know,
Macabre.
right, right. I've never heard that word, but if it
Oh.
fits, I'll use it. But yeah, like just appreciating it for what it is, because this is what the universe. This is not the first time we've been through this type of pendulum shift and this moment of crisis. That you know, crisis is what builds strong people, right? And this is how we have evolved to this moment because of these virus or this crisis moment that has helped us elevate and bring our civilization to plateaus and higher levels of consciousness. So love it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't
Mm-hmm.
resist it. Just be one with it and see it for what it is. And you know, obviously, I'm not saying fall in love with the vaccine or Dr. Bill Gates. I'm just saying like the crisis, the moment of 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 transcendence.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I think that um, in like the idea of consciousness as a scale, um, there are times to, be a little bit more human, I guess, or more rooted in the physical reality of the world. And because that's how we're able to like function, in 3D reality, we're able to like set appointments and keep track of time and, understand that our body needs food and all of that stuff. So we have to be at times more rooted in the physical reality. But especially during times of crisis or times of trauma-induced consciousness, it's, for the most part, I like to live kind of in the middle. I don't want to have my head in the clouds all the time because you become ineffectual. And with that comes the idea of detachment, not having earthly attachments when you're completely of a cosmic mind, um, being destructive and angry and all of those things are way down at the bottom of the scale. I like to be like right in the middle. I like to have a little bit of a view of what's behind the veil, but also be very grounded and logical and rational in my approach to life. Sometimes there's an advantage, and I'm not talking about like spiritual bypassing, I think is what it's called, where you rationalize away bad feelings or bad emotions, um, as being, it's all part of the plan, or it's, whatever, so that you can detach yourself emotionally and you don't have to really feel the full physical reality of what that emotion is. But you can elevate your mindset. At least you can elevate your consciousness to the place where both things are true. Both things, there's a positive and a negative to everything. There's a pendulum swing, there's a polarity to everything. And if you can elevate yourself to where you see a little bit more of the positive in things, like honestly, this year might be one of the best years of my life. And it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for a pandemic, if it wasn't for everyone's fear and, the death of people that we shouldn't have had to lose. And, if it weren't for all of those things, and I'm not saying that, my happiness or my comfort level in life is worth somehow, all of that terrible stuff happening. What I'm saying is that while it's this and that, right? While all of these terrible things are happening, these really beautiful things are happening too. Like one of the most wonderful things that I'm seeing right now is people actually beginning to question the efficacy of our school system. And they're realizing that their child's education doesn't have to look anything like what they're told it is or it should be. That to me that's going to free an entire generation. And that's a beautiful thing. So, you know what I'm saying? Like it's this and that. I can mentally, spiritually, I can kind of hold myself above it and see the whole landscape, as opposed to being in it and afraid of it. And I think that that's what you're talking about, is
Yeah.
appreciating it.
Yeah. No, I think I appreciate the distinction you made between like somewhat being detached from reality and having that like, oh, this is just the way it's supposed to be, and not kind of like not being present. So I appreciate that distinction, because it's true. Like, yeah, this is somewhat like you know kind of phenomenon that we're seeing kind of pan out, but we do have to be proactive emotionally, mentally, spiritually in what's going on. And I think that's very much important, to be able to distinguish that, and not just kind of be like new age and like, oh, just be present, but like be proactive, understand what's going on, and like put your best foot forward. Like I'm in gold time. Like, a lot of my usernames lately has been crisis mode, because I'm in crisis mode. Like, let's do this. Like, I'm not in response, like hyper response, and just act. I'm in being conscious and responding through that crisis. Um,
Being
so
the observer.
right, and not like necessarily just moving into action, observing, seeing what's going on, and being a lot more tactical and strategic in what I'm doing. You know, um, and I think that's important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. People need to be real agile right now. They need to, yeah, you've got to be able to see opportunity and advantage everywhere. Like, that's just kind of the nature of the world that we're in right now. There's a lot of uncertainties, and I'm not saying this to like make people feel fear or anything like that. It's to our advantage that we need to look for advantages. If things aren't going to be predictable, then we have to look at every situation as if there's something in it that's going to benefit us. And so that's why I love your mindset right now. It's like, yeah, crisis mode. I call it straight game face. That's like, I'm all the time looking for something that is going to work out to my advantage. And I'm like, really, like, whoever I talk to, like, I'm like, we need to start thinking like this together. Let's do this together. Everything is to our advantage. How can we make this work to our advantage? Yeah. So listeners, like, if there's something that you think might be to your advantage, like, say it out loud, you know what I mean? And see what happens. Like, because like you said, you're looking for those synchronicities, if you say it out loud, like, oh, this might be a problem, but it's going to work out to my advantage. Say that out loud and see who hears it and what happens because of it.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I think it's important for us to like show another dimension, because people, like, most people are living, walking in this like walking dead like fear.
Here it is.
Hey, I finally got to meet you. Meet you
Yes.
guys.
I came in
What's
to
up?
join.
Oh, hold on. So you can hear him. That's Khaliq. This is
Hey, what's
Sunny.
up?
Where is he?
Sunny.
And this is Ezekiel.
Nice to meet you. Ezekiel, you guys have some really cool names. It's so it's just the two of you, right?
I
I
got
have two.
Hunter too.
Sunday Hunter.
Sunday Hunter.
Ezekiel Jasper.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
What are
That's
you
really
guys
cool.
doing?
Oh, we're just going to hang out.
Oh, and now the dog too. Oh, yeah. You're right. Yeah, here's Hefe. Let me see. Hefe.
Jefe, that's a cool name. You guys got some cool names there. Oh, that's a beautiful dog. Jefe. That's cool. Who named the dog? Because that's a cool name.
Jason, my partner, named him. Yeah.
Cool.
So he's 7, and my partner got him a year before I met him. There he is.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So there's Hefe. I don't know where Sunny ran off to. Can you go? Can you let me finish talking? Nope.
I just don't like doing that.
It's good. It's good. Here, let me finish talking, babe. Can I have a smooch? Okay.
I'll see you around, buddy.
Here, give me 1 second. No lie, there was a little bit of bribery that just happened.
Oh, yeah. I know all about negotiation.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't let them negotiate, so I have to be really tricky about it.
Oh yeah, you got to finesse.
Yeah.
I know all about that. Got
Yeah.
a few tricks up my sleeve too. We got to get together and just have a talk about that. I need some new tricks. I'm kind of getting a little, a little rusty.
My best friend calls parenting psychological warfare.
That's probably where the terminology first started, right? Oh yeah. I call it negotiating with terrorists. That's what I call it.
For sure.
I don't negotiate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't allow them to even try to negotiate. No. And I tell them, like, I own you. I own everything in this house. Everything is mine, and I am the dictator. And that's how we do things around here.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, they're in that position right now where, that is the best. That's for their well-being, in that sense.
Yeah, and I don't mean like I try to stifle their creativity or whatever. They're allowed to make messes and all of that stuff, but it's just like, I need to know that I can trust you to do as I say when I tell you to do it, and that's the only way I'm going to be able to keep you safe. If something bad happens, is that I say to do something and you immediately comply, because in an emergency, if you can't do that, where are you left?
Yeah.
So, yeah, they get a lot of freedoms, but when I talk, you listen, and I think that also gives them a healthy sense of authority, so that they can choose what type of authority they want to participate in when they're grown-ups, because me as a grown-up, I've realized I don't want to participate with authority, and it took me a while to understand that. So if I can show them what authority is and what it looks like and how it behaves and what its methods are when they're young as their mother, and they trust me, they can see how someone who doesn't love them might use authority, and they can see if they can have a healthy relationship with authority. And I think that's the best that I can do for them. So the fact that,
Absolutely.
It also helps with parenting, because what I say goes, that's just a bonus, really.
Yeah. I mean, and yeah, it's really important for them to, be able to see what type of potential a guide could look like, a mentor, someone that, can guide them, and their word is something that they can really take as something that has tangible and good. What's the word I'm looking for? It's kind of slipping from me right now.
Relevant?
But relevance, reputation, integrity. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like those are all really important things that I try to hone in at home as well. But yeah, we definitely need to chat about some stuff, because I'm getting rusty over here. I need some new tricks.
Okay, for sure. Yeah, maybe we should do a whole parenting podcast. We could have like all different, parenting. We could do a parenting roundtable. How awesome would that be?
Oh man, I haven't even seen much of that actually. And I'm not saying it's not out there. I'm just saying, if you know something, please put it on I could use some more of that.
Yeah.
In my life, for sure.
Well, maybe that's something that
Sounds
we should.
Like a good.
Yeah, we should. Whenever I think like, oh, I wish there was a podcast about that, then I know I need to make that podcast. So
there it is.
There it is. Yeah, for sure. That sounds. Yeah. I wonder if that's the one I could finally get my best friend to be on my podcast with. Be like, no, you have to. We're doing a parenting roundtable. She still has one of my best parenting advice, like, tips ever. Her girls, when they were like in middle school, one of them came home talking about some cute boy and was paying attention to her. And she said, listen, I don't care if you think boys are cute. I don't care if you talk to boys. You're not allowed to have a boyfriend. So that's none of my concern. But she said, don't you ever be a practice bitch. You let these
Mm-hmm.
boys go out and be stupid and make their mistakes and break girls' hearts. And then when they're in college and they've been hurt a few times and they've seen the other side of that a few times, and meanwhile, you've been learning yourself and strengthening your mind and, setting yourself up to be in a good place in the world, then you give those boys the time of day. God damn it. That was one of the best things. And she just laid it out so clear.
Oh yeah,
Don't
that's
be a
solid.
practice bitch.
Yeah, that's keeping it real right there. That's
Mm-hmm.
definitely keeping it real, and I try to bring that at home as much as
Mm-hmm.
possible. Authenticity and just keeping it real, man. Because if you don't keep it real with the kids and with your children, somebody else is going to try to finesse them and try to do psychological warfare. So the sooner, and I was talking about this with somebody yesterday, um, in terms of like the extended adolescence. Like children are geniuses; they're so smart, and we try to extend their adolescence when we don't need to. Like they're super smart; they can totally understand these concepts that we're talking about. And unfortunately, public school, and a lot of the things in society extend an adult. I wouldn't say adulterate, but extends their immaturity and things
Mm-hmm.
like that. So I think that's keeping it real. Like they'll understand that 100%.
Absolutely.
Oh
And
yeah, we no practice bitches over here. You know what I'm saying?
serious. Serious, right? But that, could that's excellent advice for a middle school boy too. You
Oh
know?
yeah.
Why are you worrying about all of that other stuff? Getting yourself distracted. What's your game plan? What are you working on? What are you interested in? What's important to you? We don't ask our kids that.
That's so true.
No
That's so
wonder they're
true,
running
man.
around getting distracted by pretty shiny things. They don't know what they're supposed to be paying attention to. And they don't, like
Hmm.
you said, they don't teach them that in school.
Yeah, and our villages are destroyed. So it may come from you, but back in the day, it was coming from 10 people. You had 10 people telling you not to be a practice bitch. Nowadays, but that's why the importance of ceremony and rituals and
Mm,
villages and mentorship is huge for me, and I definitely want to bring that to my kids, because I see how that has how that has been a stumbling block and an obstacle for me, for a long time. I'm 30 years old now, and I feel like I'm just now like I just kind of reached my bar mitzvah, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like I
I
just
do,
got handed
yeah.
the mantle. Like, okay, I think I got this thing called life, sort of. Finally, and I want them to have that a lot earlier than I did. What is going on? Call me. I'll be on that episode.
Yeah, I want you on that episode. That sounds super good because like while you were talking I was just realizing like yeah, the saying it takes a village, like all of the adults that I allow to be close to my child or children are all people that they love them and they want to teach them. And I'm just realizing how fortunate a situation that is to be in,
Right.
not, I mean, I wonder, how many people don't have, and yes, family, like blood family, like that's important, but ours isn't close. And I know a lot of people who aren't close to their families. And so they've kind of created their own families. And I wonder how many people, whether through luck or through actual intention, created those adopted families um, that will help support their children, or if it maybe I'm just lucky and a lot of people that aren't doing that consciously um, don't have that as a resource.
Just on how to build that.
What's that? Oh, I guess you're kind of frozen.
Yeah, because as cool as you think you are with your kids, like a lot of the times, can you hear me?
I can, but it's really laggy. There we go.
All right, so yeah, well, this is a good segue anyway. I mean, what you were just talking about reminded me of my ayahuasca trip, you know, and I just did went to a retreat to do ayahuasca for 3 days, and it was a 3 day ceremony, and there was a lot of pain. It's a lot of pain. Like that's kind of the exchange with the plant medicine. Like you got to purge. You know, there's this relationship with the medicine where you get these mind expanding premonitions and these revelations, but there is this exchange. You got to either purge on some level, and it is somewhat painful, and that's some of what you're talking about. Like, yeah, I'm not necessarily sorry that we're going through this pain because it's necessary. The pain is necessary, just like it's necessary for, you know, I don't know, how diamonds are made with the pressure and how certain things, all those adages and metaphors. It's like you got to go through the pain to kind of rise up like the phoenix, you know what I mean, and be reborn. I mean, death is basically a chance for rebirth, you know, and that's one of the lessons that I learned from that experience doing ayahuasca. It's like the pain is necessary. The pain is necessary for you to come up and with lessons, So yeah, it's a part of the experience, the struggle, the pain, and all those things.
Um, yeah, I don't have any words. That's exactly right. And I mean, I'm sure that you got other lessons from that ayahuasca experience, but that's a huge lesson. And most people are exposed to trauma-induced consciousness at a super young age. You are a 2-year-old reaching for a light socket, your mom is going to slap your hand, trauma-induced consciousness. But we're kind of, our day-to-day lives are tailored in such a way to try to make us as comfortable as possible. We're constantly looking for things that make us comfortable and that also give us like dopamine hits.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, yeah. The Western world is soft, right? But there's something really powerful that happens when you receive trauma-induced consciousness, like on a global level, right? Because it's widening. Like when you are a little baby, and I'm trying to figure out how to say this. When you're a little baby and you get your hand slapped for trying to play with a light socket, it's you and your mother. And what is being transmitted is that my mother, who I love and I depend on, is going to hurt me if I do this thing. That's the message that's being transmitted. But when millions of people receive trauma in think of all of the different ways that people have been traumatized over this year. People whose family members had to like die alone because they weren't allowed to be with their family. Right. There's so many different forms of trauma happening right now, all caused by essentially the same thing. The controllers decided to implement a pandemic, and this is the trauma that's coming out of it. And we're all focused on the same thing at the same time. So, and we're all being traumatized in all of our own certain ways. Yeah. I just am energetically imagining what kind of a bond that is. I feel like we are bonding, humanity is bonding in a way that we haven't had an opportunity to before, at least not in any time frame that any of us can remember, And that seems really powerful to me. I don't know what to do with that information. It feels very true to me that that's happening, but I don't know what to do with that information.
Yeah, I think you make a good point. And, with what you said, like, it's not something that we can remember, when was the last time this has happened, but this has obviously been something that has happened many times in our ancestry and in our lineage and things of that nature. And I think that's how like the higher consciousness and like that um yeah, that higher consciousness inside of us like helps us kind of navigate some of these seas, because it's we've seen this before. It's not the first time we've seen some of this catastrophe and this, you know, darkness that has descended upon, humanity. And I think there's a lot of us that the reason we search inward is because the answers are there. Like, we don't have to go too far to understand how can we how can we prevail from this. All we got to do is go inside, and we will find out what we need to do, because we've done it before, because our ancestors have done it before. They have held hands, and they have went back to, ceremony and rituals, and back to the, you know back to what's necessary, and remembering. And yeah, I think that's something to think about. And I think that's why I'm heavily invested in the art scene, because I think that is like the way, it's almost like you picture, what do you call that, the lie detector test, right? It's like you have these, the whatever the thing is, right? It's just going through waves, and it's just kind of documenting it, right? And through art is kind of our way of like consciously, subconsciously documenting all these waves and things that we're going through. And the pen, or the pin, or whatever it is just going off the Richter scale, because the art is just going to be blowing up to an extent where the powers that shouldn't be are going to try to suppress that. And I'm seeing it. I'm a conduit of art. I like to call myself right now a so I know Richard Grove, the navigator for autonomy. He is I forget the name. He's a historian, forensic historian, right? So like, I like to think of myself as like a forensic historian for art at the moment. Like, I don't know much about art, you know, pre, you know, not very much long, in decades long. But I can say right now, from what I'm seeing in today's age, at least from the rebel and the red pill art and like the truth art, like I'm seeing the art amplified on levels that probably haven't seen. Yeah, we've seen it, but it's gonna blow up, and I'm trying to collect that. And I think that's a way for us to come together, and the
Mm.
music and the
Mm.
art, and it's all gonna point us back to looking up, to looking upward and looking inward, right? As above, so below, and internally. And that's why like art is just, I'm trying to pick up that mantle, along with all my other brothers and sisters that are trying to pick up that mantle, whether it come in the shape of tarot readings, whether it comes in the shape of painting or poetry or, you know, architecture, whatever it is. Like, I'm trying to be that conduit and support those people in that area, because I think it's one of the ways that can bring us closer to each other. And I was just talking to somebody where I was like, "Yo, I want to get, I want to put some boots on the ground in my local community. I want to like do some open mics over here in Florida, in my community over here. Like, I want to be able to connect with the artists, not only virtually but in my community here, and like, collaborate and just try to push out that art." And I'm gonna send you I collect, I do this, I have this spreadsheet on Notion and on Google, and I got a bunch of playlists as well, where I'm collecting all of the artists, comedians, um, animators, uh, poets, and all types of stuff, and I'm collecting them on these spreadsheets, and I'm just documenting all the art that is coming throughout this renaissance that is going on. And that's the name of the show that I got going. It's called Renaissance Revolution, and we're just trying to showcase, the art that's going on nowadays. And I think that's where Darby, no, so Darby said she watched me on the interview, but I think she had checked me out one time on the podcast. But I'm going to share that. And there's some really amazing art that has, is not really getting the play because of mainstream noise and all this stuff, like, doesn't allow them to break through those barriers. there's some beautiful stuff going on, and I just want to be able to help push that out there.
Yeah,
You know?
whatever links you can send me. So you've got the Art Revolution podcast. Is that what it is?
It's called the
Art Renaissance.
Renaissance Revolution. Yeah.
Renaissance Revolution. Oh, well, that's awesome. Yeah, whatever links, I'll put them in the description for sure. And I've got two things I want to say about that. And then I think we should probably wrap it up. I'm supposed to help my partner. He's catering today and I want to serve for him. So I really love when I get to do that because we do it at a brewery and everybody's having beers and eating food and they're so happy. I love doing it. So I should probably get to that job here soon. But I completely understand. Like when I finally got the concept of memes, like I'm such an old lady, dude, like honestly, but I just realized the ability to transmit such a, such well-refined, deep intellectual concepts in just an image is so powerful. It's so powerful. And I love, there's this artist that I just saw, but he does like meme paintings of like famous people or rich people. Like he's doing a series on Sacha Baron Cohen, and Sacha Baron Cohen is pissed. He's trying to like get him to like take it down, and I'm like, Sacha, you're an artist. What are you doing? Like this is beautiful. He does like Ali G or whatever that character is, and it is powerful if you can get somebody to like get a direct download of information into their brain from an image and to do it well. Those people need to be at the forefront of people's consciousness. Like they need to be at the forefront of awareness so that these ideas can be spread. I mean, how long does it take to look at and understand an image? It takes seconds, you know what I mean? And then that image is stuck in your head and you can think about it and it plants seeds of ideas inside you. And that's how we grow, that's how we grow. And so that's like super powerful. I'm so glad that that's one of the missions that you're on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one of my things right there. And I mean, I guess you could consider, some of these cave drawings and hieroglyphics, like some, prehistoric memes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Maybe like we can look at it that way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like when you've got a cave drawing of a guy with a bow and arrow shooting them at a herd of elephants or whatever it is, like they're telling the people that come after him, this is how I got food. Look at this powerful concept in an image, So anybody who comes across that, oh, this is how that person got his food, That's powerful. Yeah. It's life-sustaining, and it can be done like that in an image.
Absolutely. And I'm excited. I'm excited for the art scene. I'm excited for just, all the content that's being produced nowadays. And I encourage everybody to just, I said this yesterday to one of my homies. I was like, yo, it's time to blitz. It's time. We're calling a blitz. We're calling a audible right now. And it's time to freaking attack with everything we got from an artistic angle, from content creation, from whatever it is, and just doing it with the utmost love and light. And just shining that light out there, just blitz the world with light. That's what it's about right now. And that's all we could do.
All hands on deck.
All hands on deck. Word.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Anytime. And if there's anything I can do for you, please let me know. But anytime you want to talk, like I'm here. I'm your buddy. So
you're the homie.
Yeah. And remember about those cheap tickets if you want to go to a festival or an expo.
I got it written down.
Oh, yeah.
I'm hoping I could make something happen. But yeah, you do the same thing. Awesome. Come check me out. I'll send you those links.
Yeah.
And I'd love to talk more about parenting and just whatever other conversations we could get into. I'd love to touch those topics. But you get to doing that other beautiful service that you got.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm excited about that. Yeah.
It's gonna be good. All right. So good to see you, my friend.
Yes, indeed. Take care. Blessings.
All right. You too.